Hey guys, this is Mitch from BoardCo. Today we're going to be giving you a rundown of Wakesurf board fins, why they matter, what boards have different ones, and why you should really care. Hey guys, so today I was wanting to give you a breakdown of Wakesurf board fins, how they're going to perform for different boards, why you should care, what the different designs and shapes and constructions and different things like that are, and how they're going to impact the performance of your board while you're out on the water. Now, there's a couple different styles of fins, first off, and that's going to be the first thing I'll talk about here with you and give you that breakdown. So, generally speaking, we did another video on this that you can check out of the different styles of Wakesurf boards between surf style and skim style. And one of the biggest differences between those is the fins that they run. So right here, I've got a couple different fins. I've got a skim style fin right here and a surf style board right here. So you can see they're really different shapes. This is the skim style board right here, or the skim style fin rather right here. This is the surf style fin. So they're gonna have very different characteristics. Now, obviously you see here on the skim style fin, it's really short depth-wise, or it's not really deep, but it's really long. It's got a long base. The main reason for that is that the fins on these type of fins, they have one purpose, and that is traction. They're not designed to create drive. They're not designed to create increased performance. They just are there to give you some stability and traction when you're on the wave, and that's really important. So if you're riding like a skim style board, if you're going to go through and do a 360, just imagine the fin coming through like this, you go and spin through the board, and when you go to stop, having the fin being there to help you stop and give you stabilization is helpful. So you're not just sliding and moving with no traction. It's just gonna give you a little extra grip, a little extra friction to just stop when you want to on a spin, lock yourself back in place, not slide out and that. They're really beneficial. So there's a lot of different styles of skim style fin, but it's really pretty simple. The more surface area you have, the more traction it's going to give you. The less surface area you have, the less traction it's going to give you. So you have a fin like this. This is standard phase 5 1-inch fin, but they also do like a 2-inch fin that comes down in deeper. That's just going to give you more stability. Now, what you gain in extra stability, you lose in maneuverability. So if you go from 1-inch fin to a 2-inch fin, it's going to make it so the fin is not going to want to slide and move and break free as easily. So if you're going to do a 360, when you've got a bigger fin that's more fin to maneuver around, it's going to be a little harder to move it. Same thing if you increase the number of fins. So if you have a single fin board, that's 1 fin to maneuver and slide, where if you have a 3-fin board, that's 3 fins you have to maneuver and slide. But it's also 3 fins giving you traction and stability. So when you're looking at different ones, it just depends on how much stability you want versus how much maneuverability you want based on what size fin and how many of them. So skim style fins, relatively simple. Now, surf style fins. This is where it gets really different because the fins make a much larger difference on a surf style board than they do on a skim style board, in my opinion. Please don't send me hate mail for saying that. So I'm gonna grab this board right here. So this is a liquid force pod. So this board is a quad fin setup. You see it's got 2 big fins on the outside and 2 smaller fins on the inside. Now, on a surf style board, these fins are not necessarily there to give you traction. What they are is they're designed to give the board drive, and they're designed to make it so that the board can maneuver in the way that you want it to. They guide the flow of water as you're going through, and based on what angle these fins sit as they're moving through the water, they're gonna change the way the board maneuvers as you're carving around. So we've got a couple bigger fins on the outside, a couple smaller fins on the inside. Now, the bigger fins on the outside, they are designed are designed to give you a lot more drive, is what it's called. Meaning, if we take this board and we're going to go to left, and we dip it and slide over to the left, the fins are going to take it and go that direction. Meaning, it's kind of like the law in physics of once an object is in motion, it tends to stay in motion. This is going to give it a lot more power to stay in motion going that way. So if I go this way, it's going to go that way. If I go back this way, it's going to go that direction. The benefit of this is that if you're wanting to turn and go up a wave to like air off the top, or let's say let's say the wave's here on my right side, you're going to go and bottom turn and carve around and come back into the wave, doing a big bottom turn. Having bigger, deeper fins is going to give you more drive to do it. It's going to allow the board to continue going a direction and then move whatever way that you're designing it to move. If you have a lot less fin, the board will be more slidey and break free and move around more, but it's not going to have that same drive tendency or characteristic. So if you want to snap big airs, more fins. If you want, or bigger fins. If you're wanting to bottom turn, do big, long bottom turns, more fins, bigger fins. Those are going to be your friend. The downside of those, if you want to take these fins and if you want to do a 360, having these 4 fins to break through, that's a lot harder than that one little skim fin I was talking about earlier. That's a lot more fin to break around and to maneuver. So that's kind of piece number 1, is the more fins you have, the more traction, the more drive it is going to give the board. Now, but you also lose some maneuverability. It's going to make the tail much more locked in when you have more fins and or bigger, deeper fins. Now, another characteristic to talk about beyond just the number of fins and how big they are is the way the fins are angled on the board. Now, there's a lot of different characteristics in fins. If you want to get like super technical with it, like the rake and the cant of the fins, but I'm just going to want to talk about the angles here. So this is a Soulcraft Keenan Flegel Pro model board. This is a high-end surf style board. And if you look right here, hopefully this gives you the right idea, but you can see the fins are not straight up and down. They're not parallel with this line that runs through the center of the board, if you can see that, or just with the sides. They tuck in and they angle inwards on the inside. Now, the reason for that is if you have boards that are just, or fins that are completely straight, what it's going to mean is it's going to want the board to track straight. So if you want a board that is going to be really stable, that's a surf style board, straight fin boxes is going to make it so the board just wants to stay sitting straight and it's going to go in a straight line. If you have fin boxes that are angled in any direction, the water is going to flow in that angle and it's going to want to make the board move that direction. So if we had 2 fin boxes that were both angled this way, the board would want to creep and go that way. If you got 2 that are going this way, same thing going the other side. Obviously we don't do that, that would be weird. But when you have 2 fin boxes that are angled like this, pointed almost like a V shape toward one another, what you end up with is you end up with a board that has kind of a mixed personality. It wants to go one direction, then wants to go the other direction. The thing it doesn't want to do is sit flat. So when you go to fin boxes or fins, because sometimes they integrate this into just the fin itself and not necessarily the box, that is angled in or toed in, what that is going to do is it's going to make the board want to seek for an edge one way and then seek for an edge the other way. In other words, it's going to make the board more challenging to ride and to just stay stable on. The benefit is if you want a board that's going to whip and cut around really quick, oh man, it does an amazing job at that. So the more angle and cant that this has, the more that the board is going to want to move and dig and change from rail to rail, from your toe side edge rail to your heel side edge rail really quickly. And so that can be a major factor when you're talking about fins. The more angle that they have, the more aggressive it's going to maneuver from edge to edge, as well as the more of a tendency it's going to want to move to seek an edge instead of riding flat. So the general rule is super basic surf style boards are going to be straight, more aggressive ones are going to be tied in, really advanced ones are typically going to be a lot more toed in. And that's just going to give it more, the ability to have more drive, more maneuverability. If you've never ridden on a surf style board that's got toed in fins, you got to be a decent rider to do it, but man, it is a blast to ride. So that's something that when we're talking about surf style fins. Now, the second part is number of fins. So as I mentioned before, the more fins you have, the more drive it's going to give the board and the more traction it's going to have. Similar type characteristic, you can have a board, like we do boards that are up to 6 fins, but generally speaking, a twin fin or a quad fin are the 2 most popular designs. Sometimes there's a thruster that has a 3rd one here. If that's the case, this is just purely for stability. If you have the rear fins in here, so this Keenan Flegel has 4 fin boxes. Normally speaking, there's little nub fins that go in. So something kind of like this guy right here. So a little nub guy. This is just to give the board a little extra oomph, but by having the smaller fin, it doesn't want to dig in and break free like if you had 4 big deep fins. That's going to create a lot of drag. So the 2 small fins are going to give the board a little bit of stability. It's also going to give, more drive and more power. It's kind of like having an additional fin. And rather than having two big fins like this size, those small little nubs is kind of a meat in between. The great thing about boards like this board right here is you can go between a twin fin to a quad fin. You can change the fin setups and different designs, and it's gonna really change the ride of the board. Now, for me personally, I actually ride this board right here as a twin fin, but I ride it with a different style of fin, which is like this. So you see I've got two different fins right here. They both are really similar size. This one sits down in, so they're about the same size fin. But the fins that these white fins are riding here, these are like a plastic material. In other words, if you look right here, I don't know if you can see it, but I can actually bend and flex. Sorry, dropped it so you can see. But I can bend and flex this fin. It's gonna be more flexible. Now, having a fin that's more flexible isn't necessarily a negative. It's just gonna give the board a different ride when it's going through the water. A board that or a fin that has more flex is kind of like a board that has more flex. It's going to be, if the fin can flex and move, it will bend to the shape, to the water that's moving across it more easily. The benefit of that is if I'm wanting to be able to spin and do like a 360, having softer fins is gonna make it so that board can break free much easier. On the contrary, when you go to a carbon fin design, kind of like these are Hyperlite Riot fins right here. These are going to be much more rigid. You see, I try to take and bend them, it's not gonna move and bend. So as opposed to plastic fins that would bend quite a bit, these fins are gonna stay locked in place. When you go to a softer fin, it's gonna bend and move for spinning a lot easier, as well as sliding on the top of the wave. The benefit of a carbon fin is it's gonna be more locked in, more rigid, and it's going to be a lot better for snapping and airing. I personally find that running a set of carbon fins gives me almost as much drive as running a quad fin board with plastic fins, but it doesn't feel as locked in as a quad fin board does. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's one of the best things you can do on a high-end surf style board is upgrade your fins and make sure you go to carbon fins, and it's gonna really improve the performance of the board when you're riding it, if that's what you're going for. If you're the kind of person that's wanting to do a lot of spins on the surface of the water, go with the plastic fins, they're gonna work a little better. But if you're wanting to snap airs, do big bottom turns, stuff like that, carbon fins are the way to go. So, hope this has been really helpful and give you some ideas of how different fin configurations work and why different fins are set up the way they are. That's something that is a great thing when you're talking about a surf style board is if you get one that's got lots of different fin options, changing between different sizes, shapes, and constructions of fins is a way to enhance your experience on your board, change up your board quite a bit, and it's a lot less expensive than buying a brand new board. So hopefully this has been really helpful. If you got any questions about fins, about boards, about anything else, hit us up at BoardCo. We are happy to help. We appreciate it. Click the bell if you want to. Let us know if you want more information. Reach out to us with any questions you have, or if there's any other videos you'd like us to cover in information here. We hope this has been really helpful. Have fun out on the water, and we'll talk to you later. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. If you want to check out more videos like we have, click the subscribe button below and check out the other videos on our channel. We really love the opportunity to be able to share our knowledge and our love of water sports and all the stuff we have going on with you guys. So if you give us a thumbs up, click the bell, click subscribe, and everything else, we would appreciate it a ton, and we can keep you informed. Thanks a ton. We'll see you later.